But I was kind of laughing the other day because there was a phase of my life where I was really bummed out about just the choices I'd made that had gotten me where I was. And let me just explain the situation. I had to do a lot of, I call it grunt work, and I don't like grunt work. I know that's ridiculous, but I was cleaning houses. I was kind of like the, hey, my closet's a mess. Will you organize it? Hey, the garage is a mess. Will you organize it? And I ended up with this boat cleaning job. Like I was basically magic erasering the entire inside of this boat. And I hated it. Like I absolutely hated it. I was not loving it. And it was hot and I was sweating and I'm magic erasering this boat, and I just had this full meltdown because I was like, I don't want to be doing this. Like, I don't want to be doing this just so that I can pay my bills. And I remember full meltdown, started crying and cried for a couple minutes, and I was just like, I've ruined my life. Like, how did I end up here? I've just ruined my life. I hate this so much. And then I remember, being done crying and be like, good God, that was ridiculous. Like that was absolutely ridiculous. But there was a good chunk of my life where I would randomly have these meltdowns because I was like, I've just ruined it. Like I don't want to be cleaning out the mice infested closet. I don't want to be doing this. This is so grungy. I'm not proud to tell people that this is what I do. I feel gross. There's no point in wearing makeup. There's no point in wearing cute clothes. Like I felt very grungy about my life and I did not like it. Oh my gosh, I didn't like it. It was so uncomfortable for me. And I joke about that because I was like, some of that was hormonal and I would have these outbursts because I thought I ruined my life. But some of it is actually a very good thing. Like in a way, it's actually very good to be in that form of discomfort or some form of discomfort because it is the discomfort that makes you get it together and figure something else out. And so while it is really, really heinous when you're going through it and it feels awful, and growth and movement and actually figuring out how you're going to fix that can take a lot of creative thinking and then a lot of action and hard work to back it up, it's still so good. I have someone very close to me who when they feel any form of emotional discomfort, there's a panicked feeling, like a freak out feeling, and it's like I have to not feel this way as quickly as I possibly can. And it starts to get a little bit, I call it fluttery or chaotic. Like it's like a hummingbird is freaking out because it's about to have to feel some emotion. And my best piece of advice is always don't do that. Like, just let it wash over you. Even the negative emotions are come and go emotions. Like, you don't feel happy all the time. You're not going to feel sad all the time. You kind of have to just let that happen. And I will say the best thing to do is let that wash over you and then really analyze, like, is this a legitimate thing? Like, am I having a hormonal, breakdown because, my progesterone is up? Or is this like a legitimate thing that I need to fix, and how do I fix it? And you really do have to analyze, like, okay, I'm having these outbursts because I feel like I've ruined my life and I don't like the line of work that I'm in and the amount of money I make and the way that I have to dress for this. Okay, what are the steps to fixing that? And you kind of have to just go for it, even though it might take another 6 months of outbursts and schooling, or you might have to spend some money to learn a new thing or apply for a new job or get out of your comfort zone in some form or fashion. But it's so necessary, like so incredibly necessary. I look back on some of the uncomfortable phases of my life and how pivotal and important and impactful they were. And while I hated it and it just felt like chaos and hell inside my body to have to live through that, it does progress you in a better direction. And while I'm still certainly not nailing it all the time, I do definitely feel like I'm doing better than I once did. And I'm not cleaning boats anymore just so I can keep the lights on in my 1-bedroom apartment, which was for sure a phase of life that I had to walk through. And gosh, I wished so bad. I always used to wish so bad that I could just be quote unquote like normal and go like a normal route, as in go to normal school and graduate from a normal high school and then go to a normal college and take normal classes, and then when you're done get a normal job that pays a normal amount of money, and you have your brain working in a normal way, and you have like a normal family, and which, is great. It looks great from the outside. There are a lot of people I've observed that I think, God, that would be so nice, like so incredibly nice. Which again, everybody that seems normal is not normal, and everybody goes through things and has their stuff that they're dealing with, whatever it might be. But oh man, a huge facet of my personal experience has been kind of surrendering the things that just are never going to happen. There's a 0% chance I'm ever going to be able to be 18 years old again and go enroll at OU and become a Kappa. I just can't do that. I'm almost 30. Like, that's just something you're going to have to just let that go. I'll never be able to be 18 again and not know what it's like to get some life on you, because life is dirty and messy, and I just will never be able to sidestep that. There was one phase of my life, I always say it was the phase of life, the last phase of life, that I was too young and dumb to be miserable. Like I was actually happy. Even though there were heinous things going on, I just was still young enough that I kind of bounced. I didn't feel it. And I didn't even notice when people hated me. I didn't notice when people were being mean to me. If I was having like, major financial troubles, couldn't pay my rent, I would just scrap around and figure it out. If I was in a bad deal, I just didn't notice the way that I eventually came to. So for years and years and years, I would look back on that and be like, my gosh, I would give my right arm to go back to that. Like, I would give anything to go back to that. And then I had this mindset too of like, okay, if I can just get through this phase of life, I'll be happy like I was back then. I just want to get back to that happy, dumb, free feeling. And I remember after years and years of that, just finally having a conversation with myself like, you will never, ever, ever be able to go back to that. You'll never feel the same way that you did. You can be just as happy, but you know too many things. You've seen too many things. You've been through too many things. You've lived too much life. You know how things work now. You will never be that happy and be free and dumb. You just can't do it. It's not a thing. And since then, there have been a few other points in my life where I feel like I have worked my way to a real happy feeling. And then, life does what life does. And I'll keep thinking, gosh, that I wish I could just go back before this phase. And again, it's like, you just can't. All of these things happen. You'll never be the way you were on that day at that time. You lived too much. You really did. So while I do think that there are definitely ways to be just as happy as you might have once been, you've learned too much and you know too many things. You have to integrate that and use that and take that with you into the future. And it's a slightly different form of happiness. It's a more well-rounded, more knowledgeable happy. You can't ever get back to the way that you were. And that was hard. It's hard. You have to kind of mourn that phase of your life, which really, really can suck. But once you get through it, you're a lot lighter and you're a lot closer to being just as happy, just in a different way. And again, I'm careful even to use the word happy. Like, being happy should be the goal. I think being content and being solid and functional is a really good goal. But happy is a fleeting emotion. It's a fleeting feeling. It comes and it goes, much like sadness does. It's okay to be sad because you're not going to be sad forever. And as uncomfortable as it is, it's best to just let it wash over you, because eventually that tide will also change and you will be on to a new emotion that hopefully is a bit better than sorrow and sadness. Sorrow and sadness, those are my go-to emotions. And I was just talking with a friend about this. I love talking about this, and I always love finding out what people's knee-jerk emotion is, because I do think we have like that safe feeling, the safe feelings. And I think we default to that particular feeling or emotion when it would actually be much more fitting to feel or allow ourselves to feel something else. And let me explain. Mine is very much sadness and sorrow. I'm very comfortable in that. And so if a situation arrives or arises where it might be more appropriate to feel angry, I don't really go to anger because it's very uncomfortable for me to get angry. I actually would revert to sorrow even when it's more appropriate for me to be angry. And then I know a lot of people who default to anger. And you're like, this is not a situation to be angry at. This is a situation to be sad at, but they're much more comfortable in the emotion of anger. And I was just talking with my friend. His default emotion is chaos, which is, it sounds funny, but he's very comfortable in chaos just based on how he grew up and the things he did as a young adult. Chaos feels fine to him. And so I love discussing that with someone. What is your default? I'm safest. If I have to feel something negative, I'm safest in sorrow, anger, chaos, frustration, whatever it might be. And then I have to think, is happiness or contentment, is that something that I feel safe feeling? Because if you do enough living, a lot of times when you do feel that feeling of happiness or satisfaction or a positive, socially acceptable, positive emotion, a lot of times you're kind of looking around waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, oh my gosh, is it safe here? Is it safe to feel happy? Because every time I feel happy, something comes and then I'm right back to sad. And so I'm questioning with myself, do I feel safe in feeling happy? Or is that just as uncomfortable as feeling angry? I don't know. And again, just be careful with happiness being your goal. But I definitely would like happiness to be on the spectrum of emotions that I feel. I would really like for that to be something that my body deems safe. And I don't know that your body or your brain feels as safe as we think it does. Even though we're not maybe in the midst of a panic attack, there are a lot of things that I think your brain and body kind of red alert at just based on past experiences, which are obviously very individualistic, and every single person has a different upbringing and different life events that have produced different safe boundaries, I suppose. I don't know. I think I'm running out of words. So let's maybe just shut her down here, I guess. I have got to go do some work. I am no longer cleaning boats, but I do have some hair to do. I am a hairstylist. So I'm going to go do some hair. And thanks for listening to me ramble. I really do appreciate your time more than you would ever know. I will see you very soon.